Well, we know what the trade deadline gave us, and it wasn't much of anything. Za'Darius Smith is the only move that the Cleveland Browns make of any significance. They also got and released Quinton Jefferson as well. What we'll do is we'll go through the Za'Darius Smith trade. We'll talk about why some of the other guys like Njoku, Newsome, Tomlinson, some of those guys stayed put. And what does this all mean for the Cleveland Browns moving forward? We'll do that on a special episode of Ultimate Browns Trade Deadline News. We'll do that coming up next right here on the Ultimate Browns. Welcome on in. This is a special edition of the Ultimate Browns. We're doing it live today. Trade deadline came in went at 4 o'clock. The Cleveland Browns did make a move. We'll tell you all about Za'Darius Smith's moves to the Lions. Also, we'll talk about some of the names that were mentioned a little bit. David Njoku, Greg Newsome, Dalvin Tomlinson, some of the names of the guys even mentioned. We even had bigger names mentioned earlier in the week, possibly Myles Garrett and some of those other things. That's been debunked, so we'll talk about that as well. And we'll definitely get into what does this mean for the Cleveland Browns in the future. I want to kind of transition this at the end to what does this mean coming up forward? If you didn't move some of these guys, what is the offseason going to look like? And then, of course, we'll get to your comments, some of your questions as well. In terms of what the trade deadline was and what it brought to the table. We'll get to some of your comments as well. Make sure you go, guys out there, it's a little bit of time left. It's about 4 o'clock now. Polls should be open to about 7. Make sure you get out there and have your voice heard and vote. Go out there and make sure you do your civic responsibility and vote. I just did mine before I came on here. So guys, go out and do that if you have not done so. Like I said, we're going to get to that this really quickly. Only move that was made today by the Cleveland Browns was Za'Darius Smith. Now, people talked about Za'Darius Smith being moved as early as Sunday from the insiders and for the people that we got in the locker room, for the Mary Kays and Jason Lloyd and all those guys. Basically, we knew this was coming down that same day. He knew he was being traded. He dipped out, got out of there before people could get to him. So that trade was already going to happen, right? So let's just talk about what that trade is. The Za'Darius Smith trade to the Giants. This is on Clutch Points. And it says, Detroit Lions and Cleveland Browns started Tuesday's NFL trade deadline action by agreeing to a trade, which will send Cleveland pass rusher Za'Darius Smith to Detroit. Much speculated move has come to fruition and will help the Lions further their efforts to make a Super Bowl run after Detroit lost Aidan Hutchinson for the season. Smith, 32, had 5 sacks in 9 games this season. He has second with the Browns, his second year with the Browns. 3-time Pro Bowler, has 65 career sacks over 10 seasons with the Browns, Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, and Baltimore Ravens. If Smith somehow ends up on the Chicago Bears one day, he'll be the first player in the NFL history to play for all 4 NFC North franchises. With the Browns and the Lions making the first trade of the deadline, domino, everyone wants to know how did either side do. So for this trade, and reading, and it's just one of the publications, the Lions get Za'Darius Smith and a 2026 7th round pick. Browns get a 2025 5th round and a 2026 6th round pick. So the grades that people are giving out, I'll just read this, and I'll give you my reaction to what I thought the trade grades were. This person has the Lions at an A with the 7-1 Lions off to the best start since 1956, looking like a legitimate threat to make the Super Bowl, their first Super Bowl appearance. Detroit Executive Vice President and General Manager Brad Holmes felt the need to add a starter at defensive end to replace Hutchinson. The new Lions defenders 5 sacks are 2.5 more than any other healthy player on the Detroit's roster. However, they came alongside one of the 7 quarterback kicks, which suggests he's more lucky than consistent. So the Lions aren't getting some sudden game-wrecking force, and Smith isn't a game changer like Hutchinson was. Fortunately, the Lions don't need great. They need a boatload of talent They have a boatload of talent across the board. Detroit needs someone who can get to the quarterback after logging only a single sack in his last 2 games. That's Smith. So they give them an A for the move. They give the Browns a B, and the rationale for the Browns is although the Browns shot for the moon, they still landed amongst the stars with their return. Smith is 32 years old in his 10th season in the league, so a day 3 pick makes sense for compensation, but Cleveland needs draft assets since their roster that badly needs inexpensive starters. Since they're stuck with Deshaun Watson's albatross of a contract, the Browns appear to be on the doorstep of a rebuild this offseason. While Smith is signed through 2025, he no longer made sense for them to keep there in the foreseeable future and better served as a piece to acquire a future asset. So getting any draft picks in return made sense. And also the Browns get a better look towards the future with Alex Wright. Isaiah McGuire has flash potential. Either could become a long-term bookend to Garrett with some playing time. Now that Smith is with the Lions, they give the Cleveland Browns a B overall. When I look at this situation, excuse me. I said this on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show earlier. This is a fringe move for me. This is a Minimowski move. This wasn't anything to write home about. You get Za'Darius Smith. If you were getting a 4th round pick, they traded a 5th round pick to get him to start with. So you're looking at a situation where, listen, man, you're dealing with Za'Darius Smith, who's a guy who was more productive this year, but he wasn't a game changer for what the Browns wanted to do. They get a 5th or 6th round, or a 5th round pick for him. They swapped picks in basically in 2026 and 2025. And it's one of those moves where it just signals, yeah, we aren't as good as we thought we were. And when I look at this Za'Darius Smith deal, I look at it as in a way that we gotta be careful about this. The one thing that I'm noticing, and the one thing that we go back and reevaluate, and we have to really do this, is we really have to start evaluating and reevaluating some of this talent, man. I mean, when you watch the Cleveland Browns this year, they didn't look explosive. Za'Darius Smith is 32. You know what the main indictment is the fact that you're signing these guys to 1-year deals. You're signing Shelby Harris and Maurice Hurst, and you're signing Za'Darius Smith, and you're trying to find somebody, and you've been trying to find somebody to go with Myles Garrett forever. And I just look at this roster, and they don't have no young dogs nowhere. I like Mike Hall Jr., but this move, we knew it was going to come. We knew it was going to happen. And the bad part about it is it really doesn't make much sense, and it's not moving the needle either way. I mean, it's Za'Darius Smith. You get a 5th round pick. What are you going to do with that 5th round pick? We're a team that drafted Siaki Ika. Now, let me ask you a question. You drafted that kid in the 3rd or 4th round. He never saw the field, was not good enough to even sniff the field. Some of these other guys that you're getting, Jamari Thrash, you moved on from Amari Cooper. Why have we not seen a Jamari Thrash? Where's Kadarius Toney at? Where are some of these young guys that we should be taking a look at? I mean, at this point, don't you want Zenner to play? At this point, we need to figure out what we got going on in a lot of different places. So, this move is, they also made another move, which was Quinton Jefferson. So Quinton Jefferson also got moved. Let me see the rationale. Browns released veteran D-tackle ahead of trade deadline. Browns have been busy ahead of 2024 NFL trade deadline. They already traded Za'Darius Smith. They dealt Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. And they are releasing veteran defensive tackle Quinton Jefferson despite signing with the Browns last offseason. And the team announced that they were releasing him ahead of trade deadline as they continue to change up their defensive line. So after earning a starting job with the Jets in 2023, Jefferson turned in an arguably best campaign of his career as he racked up 34 tackles and a career-high 6 sacks in 14 games. The Browns were hoping he could produce at a similar level when they signed him to a 1-year, $4 million deal in free agency, but he's played in just 5 games. picking up 6 tackles and a sack during his on the field time. Cleveland has been using Dalvin Tomlinson and Shelby Harris as their primary defensive tackles this season, with the postseason hopes but all but extinguished. It makes sense to hold on to Jefferson, who is why it does not make sense to hold on to Jefferson, and the team released him. He technically still gets traded before the upcoming deadline, but if team wants him, they will likely have to snag him on the free agent market for cheap. It's a shame that his stint with the Browns didn't work out. So for me, again, you see one thing that is being consistently said here. One of the consistent things is you're doing a lot of these 1-year deals, right? And I want to go back and look. Let me see the Browns drafts. Let me see. Let's go back to 2022. Just to look this up a little bit. So in the 2022 class, who did they sign? All right. So in 2022, they only had a 3rd round pick. They took Martin Emerson, who was a starter. Okay. They got Alex Wright in the 3rd round. So pick 68, they got Martin Emerson. Pick 78, they got Alex Wright. Now, Alex Wright has contributed. He tore I think it's a pec or a tricep, and he's out for the season. And Martin Emerson is a starter. David Bell is no longer on the squad. They took him at pick number 99, never really did anything. 4th round pick 108 was Perion Winfrey. He lost his mind and was out there running around doing God knows what. They wasted a 4th round pick on Cade York, pick 124. They did get Jerome Ford in the 5th round, pick 156 from Cincinnati. He's a contributor. Michael Woods got cut. He was pick 202. Isaiah Thomas, was on the roster for a little bit of time. Dawson Deaton, he was cut as well. So that was your 2022 draft. You got some contributors there. Let's go to 2023. You got a couple contributors there. I'll give you credit for that. No game breakers. No game breakers. Jerome Ford is showed some flashes. Let's go to 2023. Pick 74, Cedric Tillman. He's played well over the last couple of games. He looked like he might be a player. He's coming on a little bit. Cedric Tillman looks like he might be about something. Siaki Ika, where'd you take him? Took him in the 3rd round, pick 98 overall. Never saw the field. Complete bust. Don't even know why they drafted him. Don't even know. You did get DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones, pick 111 in the 4th round. He looks like he's going to be up for the starting tackle position. Jed Wills has got his minutes taken, and I'm glad he did. But obviously, DeJuan is a project. He still needs to continue to work and do some things, get it together. Isaiah McGuire is a guy who they've been playing the last couple of games, show some flashes. So that's a 4th round pick. And that was pick 126. They got DTR at pick 140 in the 5th round. So he's been back and forth between your backup, and he's been on the roster as well. Cameron Mitchell from Northwestern gets rotational minutes. 5th round, pick 142. Luke Whippler is on the team, pick 190, but he broke his leg, messed his leg up earlier this season. So if you look at it, and some people will say to help Andrew Berry, they might say, look, man, you just named a lot of guys that are contributors. Cedric Tillman's contributing. Who else? DeJuan Jones is contributing. Isaiah McGuire is going to get a much bigger look now that you do have Za'Darius Smith not in the mix. You got DTR, who has been on the roster. You got Cameron Mitchell. He's on the roster. And Luke Whippler is still on the roster. So you may say, in defense, G. Bush, though, these guys are actually on your roster and they're contributing. My question is, which one of these guys are game breakers? Which one of those guys are difference makers? 2024. Let's go to last year's draft, and let's see what we got. And then we can give a complete picture here a little bit. Let's do this. So this year's draft, we got Mike Hall Jr., who's contributing. Zach Zenner has seen the field. Not so much for Miles Harden, not so much for Jamari Thrash, Nathaniel Watson, practice squad, Jawan Briggs, out of here. So we've yet to see Jamari Thrash. We've yet to see really Bookie Watson. We've yet to see some of these guys, but we did get a chance to see Mike Hall Jr. We got a chance to see Mike Hall Jr. So, what am I saying when I'm talking about this? So you move on from Za'Darius Smith. Alex Wright is going to be a guy that you may look to get some things from next year, but he's coming off injury. The thing that's hitting me right in the face is there's not very many difference makers on this team. It's just not. From when you look at the receiver core and you look at some of the other dudes, and we got to get to this, there's not very many playmakers. It's just not guys that when you turn the Cleveland Browns on, I'm not scared by them. I am not scared by any of their speed. I'm the only guy that I think is not on the trading block is Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb. I mean, David Njoku, and we'll get to this coming up here. Njoku, Newsome, Tomlinson, all those guys. Why was it that those guys weren't moved? I got a theory on that. We'll come back and talk about that. But first, let's get to you some of your comments on the Za'Darius Smith trade, what you guys feel, how you love that. 355. Yeah, you know, so crazy. One of my clocks, Bailey, is still it's not. It ain't turned back yet. So yeah, I'm still messing myself up. Barry and Stefanski not trying to hook their replacements up with the draft capital. See, how do you feel about drafting Abdul Carter to pair with Miles? Well, listen, G. Bush Bad Neck, shout out to you. I think we're going to find out two things, and we'll talk about the draft coming up here in a moment. If you look at the draft and you take a look at the quarterback draft, the guys, you got Carson Beck, quarterback out of Georgia. You got Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. You got Cam Ward out of Miami. You also have Quinn Ewers out of Texas. Those are the top names that you're hearing. You know, you're hearing people talk about those guys at the top. I think Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward are the two best guys, but even they got some flaws. They're not going to be just coming in here and getting their money off like that. I think this draft is much deeper. If you talk about going to get another defensive end like Abdul Carter, who's a monster, he's a freak of nature off the edge. He reminds me of Michael Parsons. You know, Penn State got some ends. They do their thing when it comes to getting rushers. I love Travis Hunter. Love him. I love Travis Hunter to death. I think Travis Hunter got the mentality. I think Travis Hunter is a dog. I think Travis Hunter, he don't do nothing. Oh, he don't tweet. He don't do none of that stuff. I mean, I don't got a problem with that, but all he do is come play and do his thing. The problem is, if you got Travis Hunter, and I was trying to say this on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show today, if you got Travis Hunter, I just don't believe that putting him in this analytic system and just putting him out there at corner is what you need to be doing. If I've seen Travis Hunter do this at every level, I've seen him play both ways at every single level. He's a better receiver than anybody we got right now. He's almost a better corner than everybody we got right now. And if you got a team that needs defensive guys and you need playmakers, Travis Hunter need to be playing 25 to 30 snaps on offense and some other snaps on defense as well. I need to get him on the field as much as possible, and he be returning kicks for me too. People will say, well, listen, he's going to get broke up. They say, you know, he's going to have injury issues, all that good stuff. Listen, do not, if you want a Ferrari, and you got the money for it, don't be sitting around talking about, I want to drive it. I'm driving that Ferrari. I don't care if I live in Ohio or not. We're going to drive that Ferrari. Travis Hunter need to be with somebody that is going to do He need an Andy Reid type coach where it's like, oh no, we're gonna make sure he's successful and hit you over the head with this guy. I just don't see it with Cleveland. I just don't. I've had too many conversations with people talking about how come OBJ can't get the ball, or what's wrong, Amari Cooper is pouting, or Jerry Jeudy, or how come Nick Chubb don't get the ball? How come we can't use Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb at the same time? Nah, don't draft the kid and just put him at nickel and just cost. No, we're not going to do that. So you might have a better, I guess what I would say, you might have a better chance of getting an impact dude at another position other than quarterback. But I don't know if the Browns are going to force it, because sometimes you got to think about it like this. These guys are trying to save their jobs at this point. I know a lot of people want to believe that their job security is just there. No. It's way too many games left in the season. So, they have to do their best to put their best foot forward. And sometimes they may feel like drafting a quarterback is something that's going to save their jobs, right? So it's something that is going to get an excitement level, and that people are going to be like, oh, we got a quarterback now. I just don't know if Haslam is going to be patient with it. It's going to be very interesting to see. Deion Wilson, it's fringe, but the fact that wasn't a fire sale kind of tells me they're likely to stay with Deshaun next year. Deshaun Watson is going to be on this roster. They cannot send Deshaun Watson away, and if they do, they won't be able to pay. The cap hit is too high. So it's just about whether or not they're going to have him in the building, whether he's actually going to be a viable candidate to start or play, or is he going to be somebody that they just say, all right, we're going to pay you, but stay home. Let me tell you this, though. It's spooky season this year. And the problem Browns have is it's not a great draft class. It ain't like there's one guy. Like if it was a CJ Stroud available, or if it was a dude that was head shoulders above the rest of the guys, you'd be positive. You'd be excited about the fact that, hey, at least we're going to get that guy. We know who that guy is. It ain't there. Also put it into a factor that the Browns need a bunch of stuff. I mean, they need linebackers. They need another safety. They might need another corner. Like, they need defensive tackles. They need another end. They need 2 receivers. Think about that. They need a left tackle. They may need some guards. Like, it's not just one thing that these dudes need. They need some things, plural. Playmakers, plural. And if you don't got, the draft capital to get those top-notch blue chip players, you looking around and you saying, okay, well, listen, if we can't get the quarterback, does that mean we look at Anthony Richardson? Does that mean Justin Fields is in the mix? Does that mean we try to look at a Bryce Young? Because if you telling me the best you can do is Quinn Ewers, you still ain't got no receivers. It's not easy. This is not cut, dry, and clear. It is not cut, dry, and clear, man. It is not, man. Let's see. Lord Jamar. Brown should have had a fire sale today, Barry, and deeper dumbass need to go. Hey, man, thanks for giving us a real talk, G. Bush. Hey, man, I try to. Sometimes I get bored. I can't. I think sometimes people just want to be lied to. I mean, this is what I was saying earlier. Like, it did me no. People was doing all the victory laps on the Deshaun Watson stuff, and I said, bro, if it don't work, we right where we at today. You ain't got no quarterback. DTR. Listen, DTR. If they give him opportunity, he might be it. I just don't see it. He could prove me wrong. Jameis Winston, that ain't it. So you tell me, what is the viable upgrade out here? Where's the aha moment? You see what I'm saying? Where's the retread quarterback that you think could come in and they don't have to completely tear it down to the studs? Where's that at? Or where's the quarterback that is in the draft that you said is that guy, and we got to turn it out with him? I don't see either one. I don't see it. All roads look like they lead us 6 or 7 games. Maybe I'm crazy. You put it in the comment section, we'll talk about it. We got to get to a quick break. When we come back, Njoku, Newsome, Tomlinson all stay put. They all stay put. But what does that really mean? I'll tell you, it ain't a good thing. The Browns kept them, but that might mean something that we don't want to look at. We'll come back and talk about that. Get your questions ready, and we'll come back and talk about it right here on the Ultimate Browns. Well, you're going to want to keep it locked to Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel, because Ultimate Cavaliers, the only thing that's saving us in the city of Cleveland and for Northeast Ohio fans, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. 8-0, big-time victory last night against Darius Garland, showing up with 39, almost 40-some points, breaking off the Milwaukee Bucks 2 days in a row after Donovan Mitchell hit the jump. Come on, man. Jason Lloyd, Mikey McNuggets, make sure you check those guys out for giving you all of your Cavaliers content as well. And don't forget, coming up, Ultimate 216, my man Earl the Pearl. Make sure you check him out. It's a mix of sports and culture. He'll be doing the Ultimate 216. Man, check him out. He has a great guest on all the time. And also Behind the Glass as well with Anthony and McNuggets. So keep it locked. It's all on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel. Hit that like button, notification. Only about 2,500 subscribers away. We want to get to the 50,000. Make sure you help us do that. Subscribe to the channel today. Welcome back to, I would say, the fastest 30 minutes in sports, but we're doing a little special here at 4 o'clock. I know a lot of people was out and about voting. Hopefully you're staying in those lines. Stay in those lines, man. Have your voice heard. Don't worry. If you're not watching live, you can catch this on demand. And we're talking about the Browns in the trade day fiascos that they had. Nothing much. Za'Darius Smith got moved to the Lions. We knew that was coming, but nothing else happened. But why? Why was there nothing else on the horizon? Well, let me tell you this, and this pains me to say. Value not there. The value not there. And this is why I always see, you know what your team is talking about and where your playmakers are by how many people are knocking on your door. And where are your difference makers at difference making positions? The difference making positions in this league are as follows. Cornerback. You need a lockdown cornerback to put on a top-notch receiver. Receiver. You need a guy to stretch the field. You need a guy to be special. You need a true number one receiver. Quarterback. Gotta have one. We already know why. Left tackle. It's protecting the quarterback, picking up things, running the ball. You know that. Last impact position, defensive end. You need to get after the quarterback, to sack the quarterback, and to affect the passing game, running game, all the above. So when you take a look at the Cleveland Browns and you say, okay, well, if those are the marquee positions, those are the positions that are most valuable, and those are the positions of need that some people have that are willing to give up large amounts of draft capital. You got Myles Garrett. People will give up large amounts of draft capital, and they'll line up in hordes to just give you their picks for Myles Garrett. But other than that, you don't have any impact positions. You don't have any more impact positions. You don't. You moved Amari Cooper, and he wasn't impact at this stage of his career. Jerry Jeudy's not impact. He's not taking the top off the defense, and people like, oh my goodness, we got to stop Jerry Jeudy. No. You don't have a quarterback. And people, if you did have quarterbacks, they don't give quarterbacks away anyway. You got Denzel Ward at corner, but here's the problem with Denzel Ward. He's fragile. He's getting concussions every week, and he's blowing coverages. He's great at man coverage, But when you look at what he is and what he's not, Denzel Ward could be one hit away. Denzel Ward could be one hit away when it comes to certain things. Now, also, he has a large amount of money due to him in the next couple of years. So when you say Njoku, I mean, what are you getting for a tight end? I mean, what are you going to get, a fourth round pick? You be losing him at a discount. You gave him a contract. He was a first round pick. You got a 4. Greg Newsome, what are you going to get? Last year, I thought you could get a 3. Are you going to get a 4? Greg Newsome 4-4. All right. He was a first round pick. As a first round pick corner, you're supposed to be starting. He's a slot corner. A slot corner who does not have great recovery speed or tremendous ball skills. He's had like 1 or 2 picks, and one of those off of Karam, right? Not a secure tackle in the secondary. Dalvin Tomlinson, you gave him a big free agent contract. I think he's a solid player. He's a nose tackle. It's not an impact player. Nose tackles plug up stuff and give you a pass rush where they can. So the hard part about the Browns roster, and the thing that we're understanding today, is there's not a lot of pieces that people out there are valuing. There's a lot of places on our roster where they're not valuing the talent level that you have on certain positions. So the Browns, the reports came out that the Browns were supposed to try to be, making a lot of moves and was trying to get some stuff out there. But you know what they heard? Crickets. They heard nothing. People are looking at the roster like, you got a couple nose tackles. I mean, what are you talking about, man? You ain't got no receivers. Like, what are you talking about? We're not. All right, Njoku was cool, but he's not no difference maker where you say, we got Njoku, we one piece away. It's not it. It's not it. Again, and I'm not sitting here trying to, kill Andrew Berry. I'm just pointing out the obvious. Where are your guys, even when you watch the game, and it's confirmed by the off the field moves, it's confirmed by the way people think about you. No one's willing to offer up all these picks for these guys. These guys are fringe guys. If you want to talk to me about Denzel Ward or Myles Garrett, okay, cool. But look what, and the market is different now. Think about it. Marshawn Lattimore, what did Marshawn Lattimore go for? Let me see this. Let me see what he went for. What did Marshawn Lattimore go for? So he went to Washington, right? He went to Washington. So Marshawn Lattimore, Saints get Washington's 3rd, 4th, and 6th round picks. And the Commanders get Marshawn Lattimore in a 5th round pick. So, I mean, I would count that 3rd and the 4th. Nobody care about that 6th. So you got Marshawn Lattimore, one of the better corners in the league, for a 3rd and a 4th. If Marshawn Lattimore is going for a 3rd and a 4th, what do you think Greg Newsome's getting? Marshawn Lattimore is exponentially a better football player than Greg Newsome. They only got a 3rd and a 4th from him. Why would you give up anything over a 5th round pick for Greg Newsome? And the Browns found out that people weren't. Hence the reason that they're staying pat in the Za'Darius Smith trade. And even Za'Darius Smith, for a guy who the Lions were between a rock and a hard place, and the Lions were the team that were desperate. And the Browns still only got a 5th round pick. Comes down to a talent evaluation. And the league is telling the people in Cleveland, you guys like it. When Andrew Berry says, I like our receiving room, that's the only person who likes it. The rest of the league is not digging it. Not digging it. Let's continue back. Captain America bleeds. I need the Browns to sell it all and give me Shador. How do you think that's going to play out? Look, I'm just not. Listen, from a cultural standpoint, and what I mean by cultural standpoint is, you know, I wear this stuff right now. People in Cleveland, why are you wearing that? I don't even throw the ball. My dad, don't know nobody who know who my dad is. You think they're gonna do with Coach Prime? You really think that, like, I mean, we done been through a lot of stuff. Let's see. Are you 100% sure Watson's not QB1 next year? No. See, Vernell, let me tell you this. Right now, I made the analogy that the Cleveland Browns are a team that's sick but have no diagnosis. I made the comparison. You'll go to the doctor, they give you antibiotics, you take them all, you take them and you finish them, and you still feel sick. They run some tests, they do blood work, they do some cultures. Guess what? Still nothing coming back conclusive. And after a while, you just been sick for so long, you just go to the doctor and you be wanting them to tell you, just let me know what's wrong. I can deal with it if it's something crazy. Just let me deal with it. But I can't keep walking around here with my health in the air, and I just feel bad for no reason. Well, that's what the Cleveland Browns are. We did a lot of tests. We didn't test it. Baker left. We still didn't win no games. We got Odell and Jarvis, still didn't win no games. You've been trying to get somebody else with Myles Garrett forever. You go out and get Deshaun Watson. That didn't look good. You put Jameis Winston in. He played well. Then that didn't look good. The play calling is still defensively in the secondary. You still can't get calls in and doing regular stuff. We don't know what's wrong. Could Deshaun Watson be here and be starting? Sure. Could Deshaun Watson be here, but Kevin Stefanski get fired and Barry keep his job? Sure. Can D. Podesta be here, but Barry and Stefanski got to go and Deshaun Watson don't play? That may happen too. Only Jimmy Haslam knows. And it's going to have a lot to do with what that happens over this last, I guess, eight games. Brian Summer says, first question we need to ask ourselves is the GM and the head coach that can be successful under Jimmy out there. Here's what I will say. And let me. All right, so I'll give you my philosophy on this one. Okay. We should understand this about our country. I think it is very unproductive to even mention ownership. And the reason I feel it's unproductive is because I understand how futile that is. I just saw a clip of King Carmen the other day on the morning show yelling at somebody, going back and forth, because the guy who called him said that the media is not doing their job to put more pressure on Haslam to sell the team. And I just sat there and I just laughed. And my wife was like, what are you laughing at? I said, why are people not understanding what life is about, bro? Like, that's like you going to work. Somebody owns the businesses that we all work at. All of us. And just because people are upset, maybe at, I don't know, they're upset at, whether or not they put out a certain product, or they're upset to a certain extent because they think that the ownership is bad. This is these people's lives. This is their family legacy. Do you believe that they care anything about what somebody is saying? This is a billion with multiple B's, multiple $billion industry, and they in the NFL, they can print money because we're all going to show up. And even you don't think you're showing up, the TV deal is billions upon billions. Billionaires see the fans as what Somebody says, what can a caterpillar envision what an eagle sees? Nothing. Caterpillar is in the ground on the lower ecosystem trying to figure out how you get to be a butterfly. An eagle is 10,000 miles in the air. Whatever a caterpillar does on the ground has no effect on a bald eagle. This is all, it's a charade that they say. That's why they got PR people. It's a charade to say, oh, they care about the fans. No, stop. They don't care. These people got the bag. And if you think that we sitting here talking about the fans is upset, that's not going to stop their bag. So a long way to saying it is this. You're going to have to work around the ownership. That's just what it is. I don't care where you at in any sport. These dudes is never selling a team. You know how many billionaires is in line to just get a team? You can't even buy your way. It's the only league. It's the only thing in this world that you can't just wake up and say, I want that. Nah, bro. Even if you got the money, you got to be in the system. You got to be in a good old boy system. They got to approve you. It has to be, I think it's something stupid like 85% of the owners or something dumb got to approve you. I don't even know what it is. But even if you wanted to buy a team, they still can look at you and be like, your money ain't no good here. So what makes you think that we have any power to make them do nothing? You better just hope and pray that Haslam wants to win. And by the simple rule of percentages, the more opportunity you have to do something, the better chances of it one day might accidentally hit. Accidentally. But here's the thing. Let's not take Stefanski and Barry off the hook. They've been on lockstep saying they wanted Deshaun Watson. They were in lockstep saying Baker had to go. They was in lockstep with a lot of different things. They got an opportunity to put their stamp on the game. I can't put that all on the Haslams. All right, one more segment to go. We look at this and say, what does this all mean for the Browns? They only trade one player. There's no fire sale. What can I read from the tea leaves with this? And we'll come back and do it before we get you out of here. It's G. Bush right here on the Ultimate Browns. As you know, Ultimate Browns every week, Tuesday and Friday. G. Bush gives you 2 episodes. We do special episodes like this. We may go a little early when there's trade breaking news like Amari Cooper or trade deadline today. Make sure you check us out, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification so you know when all of our content is dropping. And also, make sure you check out the Ultimate Buckeyes. The Buckeyes big time win over Penn State. They look like they're back in contention for the Big Ten. Couple more tough games, including that team up north in Michigan. You want to listen to Dustin Fox and Tyvis Powell, Ultimate Buckeyes. Make sure you check that out. All available on one location on the UCSS network. Welcome back. We doing a little recap for the trade deadline moves. Za'Darius Smith gets moved to the Lions. But we're still doing it here, still talking about some of the other guys that didn't get moved and what this means moving forward for the Cleveland Browns. I think that this does not preclude them from making moves in the offseason. These 8 games are going to tell us a lot about what's going to happen with the Cleveland Browns. These 8 games are going to tell us a lot about what is going to happen moving forward with Coach Stefanski, with Andrew Berry, because I think this is an evaluation period at the highest levels. It's easy to walk around and say, we did good last year. We went through adversity. No, this is the real adversity. You now moved one of your veteran players out. Now you've gotten worse. Trust me, the Browns are worse without Amari Cooper and Za'Darius Smith. It just is what it is. You're going to start playing younger players. The quarterback situation has not gotten better. So you're still going to have bad quarterback play. You're still going to have issues with offensive line, the scheme up front, not being able to run the football, and still an identity crisis. Once again, watch the game. He did good with play action. He was moving the ball up and down the field. All of a sudden, I see Jameis Winston in 5 wide. When did Jameis Winston bust out the 5 wide? You're still doing stuff like that. So This season, they're going to have to be evaluated, and there's going to be some tough conversations, right? And Jimmy Haslam's going to have a conversation about that as well. So for me, what does that mean? Well, the Browns are going to have to do two things. One of them is get a lot younger. They're going to have to be more explosive. I know they want to do analytics or whatever, but it should be no reason to Cleveland Browns organization has never had top flight receivers. I mean, never. Like Brian Brennan and Langhorne and Slaughter, they were cool for what it is. They were not bona fide top-notch receivers. The Browns have been living in the dark ages when it comes to spreading the field and trying to do some things. And the disappointing part about it is, even when they did have guys like Jarvis and Odell, they still couldn't get them the ball. They're going to have to do a long, hard look and deep dive into what they want to do in their philosophy, because I don't understand. There's a disconnect. If Kevin Stefanski and Dorsey, if they have been at practice and you're Andrew Berry and all you're seeing is vertical routes and 5 wide and open empty sets, why would you think it's okay that your receiving core was Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, and Jerry Jeudy? Ain't near one of them. No big, physical, strong, fast, vertical, threatening speed type dudes. None of them. Why would you say I'm cool going into the season with the receiving core you got when you know that the coaching staff is pushing to run something else? I don't understand it. I just don't. Like it's like you guys are operating on two different ends of the spectrum. Like you work on one side of the office and you work on the other side, and y'all never come to the middle and say, "Hey, look, I want to run some vertical sets. Get me a big, fast, strong, physical guy." But I'm telling you what, off season's gonna come around, and the Browns need to ask themselves: it's going to be a little bit of a rebuild either way. You want the mini rebuild or you want the heavy duty full rebuild? Because I'm going to tell you what the way that the fans is feeling now, it's going to be some people that check out on that heavy duty rebuild. Jimmy Haslam might tell you, look, I'm trying to get a stadium done. Ain't no way I could go and tank and go back to the dark ages. And I'm trying to get support from the public on a new building. Ownership might not even let them do no full tear down. So, that's the question that we're looking at. You could still see some guys like David Njoku move. You could still see a few guys that you feel like, the Wyatt Tellers of the world, Dalvin Tomlinson. You could still see some of those guys moved in the offseason. But I think there needs to be a change of philosophy. And also, Camp Cupcake should be over. I don't know what he has to do, go get a drill sergeant, but a lot of what we see in this year, I think it has to do with just the lack of physicality, the lack of attention to the grind that you need to be in. Like, a lot of guys came in like this was just fun and sweet, and they thought teams was going to lay down. And why? Because you made the playoffs last year. Your goal is supposed to be what the Pittsburgh Steelers are. And that goal is to be, hey, no matter who quarterback is, there's a certain level of character that we play with, a certain level of energy that we play with. That's the C word. Culture is we play the same way at all times, no matter who out here. And right now, the Browns play up and down depending on a number of situations. They're going to have to figure out what's up with the culture again. Let's see. Justin Fields should be in no conversation as a Browns quarterback. Okay. G. Bush, can you play? Nah, I ain't got nothing. Listen, my back almost started hurting from waiting in line to just vote. Man, let's see. Dorothy has to go. Ran mostly Kevin's play action against Baltimore. Ran Dorsey's offense against Charger. Pretty obvious who has to go. That's another thing too. I will still bring Jameis back, Winston back, though he's a mature enough and he could take a beating. Bring him back for a bridge. That may be the only option. I mean, the other ones aren't great. Other ones aren't great. Deion Wilson, check out Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. He's a better McMillan and projected a third round, might be an upgraded second. You can watch with his hands. I'm gonna check that out. It's a lot of stuff that I'm gonna be doing now where it's kind of refreshing a little bit. I used to be big into the draft, but for the Browns, they moved to a place where it was kind of like, they in win now mode. So we didn't have draft picks, draft capital, and we were looking to go to the next level. So I haven't really been in the draft, but it's gonna be fun because there's all kind of pieces and parts you can evaluate because the Browns need so much. Let's see. Thank you for Za'Darius. He will win in the D. Yeah, man. Shout out to Za'Darius Smith, by the way. Go out there and try to do something. Let me get a couple more. Andrew knows his job is on the line. He has to risk it all this upcoming season. Yeah, this is another thing. How do you tightrope this thing? Because I don't think that you can come out and simply tank. But how aggressive is Andrew Berry going to be in trying to get the Browns back quick to winning quickly? I think that the Browns believe that they're only a quarterback away. I think this move kind of signals that to me that they are selling behind closed doors to Jimmy Haslam. Look, I understand Za'Darius, don't pay attention to that. Za'Darius, Amari, all those guys, the only guys we're moving, we probably weren't going to bring back next year anyway. Think about it. Amari Cooper, we weren't bringing back Za'Darius Smith. We did offer a contract, but that wasn't, when we was losing this year, we might as well give Isaiah McGuire and some of these other guys an opportunity. None of the guys we're trying to move are core pieces to what we want to do. They probably view Denzel Ward, JOK, Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb as their core. I think Jerry Jeudy would probably be in that core too because they paid him, and I think Cedric Tillman can play his way into that core. Other than that, DeJuan Jones could, if he plays well at left tackle, he might be able to play his way in. I think David Njoku is part of the core as well too, because you can't really ask a bunch of young players to tank, because what'll happen is it'll get ingrained into their DNA. If you're losing games and you don't got no veterans to really hold the fort down and grab the reins and say, hey, look, we're not about to do certain things. If you're doing that with a bunch of young players, you can ruin your whole culture and you can ruin young players, because it's a bad thing when you're just losing like that. Let's see. Let's get to a couple more here. G Turk says, NFL trades during the season is never crazy compared to other sports. Draft picks are way more valuable in the NFL. You're starting to see people is coveting these draft picks, but for the Cleveland Browns, it don't matter if you got a bunch, you got to hit on them. Sell everything, get it online in Shador, and everything else will settle itself. I wouldn't mind having Shador Sanders. I'll tell you that. I think he holds the ball a lot. I think he's going to have to break himself out of that. But it ain't me I'm worried about. It's just when we talk about the culture of the Cleveland Browns, we do not like a bunch of flash. We don't like a bunch of pizzazz, and we don't like outside stuff, man. Like, we get too caught up in all that, man. I argue back and forth with some of my counterparts all the time. Like, who cares? Like, you're on social media showing your vacations. Like, why is that a problem? Like, dude, that's like that. Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say about this. If you worried about what somebody else is doing on social media, whether they got a new car, whether they got jewelry, whether they on vacation, whatever pictures they putting up, if you got a problem with that so tough, that might be a you problem. You're projecting here. Why would I get mad that Deshaun Watson or any other football player, basketball player shows his vacation? Like, guys, we're all human beings. Guys, he can't take pictures and photos with his family for memory. Like, that's the type of stuff that make me second think that people, hey, Odell Beckham had a watch on. Odell Beckham had clown shoes on. Oh my gosh. So look, I'm just giving you the heads up. I wouldn't mind having him as a player, but we're here. We kind of a different fan base. We kind of a different bunch of people. Why when this shit happens, like this happens to our team, it feels like we have a complete blow up on our hands, but when it's other teams, it's a quick fix here or there. My man Reese, I feel you to death, man. I feel you. As you can see, I'll be exasperated. As you can see, because other teams, Jaden Daniels, they was bad. Boom, got a quarterback. Let's roll. Detroit Lions, they was bad. Jared Goff, boom, nice. Jameer, we ready to roll. It's a team that go from worst to first every year. The Texans, C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, boom. Will Anderson, boom, ready to go right now. We up here talking about a 3 to 5 year plan. We 3 to 5 year plan. We get people every year. Guys don't be turning up to be nothing. 3 to 5. Stefanski has never coached an elite quarterback. Of course, Joe Flacco can play. Can use play action to death. Those are the quarterbacks he's used to. Why is Dorsey calling a Stefanski offense? That's a fair point. And finally, Michael Smith says, not going to happen. I'm thinking he's talking about Shedeur Sanders. Oh, man. Rob Cunningham says, show some training pictures along with vacation so we can see you try to get better. Fake us out at least. I will say this. It's just all about where you're looking at. Like, I watch for all the time because I do watch these. I watch these receiver training videos and quarterback training videos where they work with receiver coaches in the off season, and a lot of them get together. So I've seen, even at a college level, those guys do. All of them do it. It's just a simple fact that are we locked in and dialed in to see where they at? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot on Instagram. A lot of Instagram joints, Instagram reels is training material that I look at. It pops up all the time. I can even tell you, like right now, Odell Beckham Jr. was one of the guys I like to watch called Route God. If y'all check him out, Route God, he does all this training about how to get off press coverage. I show Tyvis all the time. So check those channels out. You see a lot of your players, like, quarterbacks, they work with sessions. There's one I think Colorado put out, Coach Prime put out, with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders playing, doing 7-on-7 themselves, like before this season started, basically going throw for throw with some of the trainers out there. So, it's out there. I just think there's a lot of times it's the perception. Like when Baker did those commercials, people say he should be worried about playing ball. And you're like, bro, you do know that he shot those commercials all in one day, right? Those commercials was done for the whole season, probably maybe 1 or 2 days. Knock it in, get the bag. He hasn't even shot. He shot those weeks ago. So it's just a little. When you're losing, taking L's, and you don't look good, people gonna be on you. I think that's just what it is. With that being said, we want to thank you all for pulling up. 186 people in here. Make sure you hit that like button. We will be back again Friday. We'll be talking about some other things as well. We'll get to it. Keep it locked to Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show throughout the week. Cavs is shining, so we'll be doing some Cavs content. We'll be talking about some new quarterbacks, talking about some draft stuff coming up here in a minute. So keep it locked. The Browns got a lot of interesting stuff going on. Keep it locked to Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show and Ultimate Browns so you don't miss any of the latest with the Cleveland Browns. With that being said, if you want a fresh take on sports, I keep the clippers on me. The barbershop is always open. You never know if I'm on radio and TV, but if you want the fresh cut on sports, you tune into the barbershop. Have a good rest of your day. Go out and vote and have a great evening. And as always, go Browns.